Have you ever wondered how normal people retire early? Not millionaires, not even people earning a high income. Because after 25 years of investing, making mistakes and learning things the hard way, I genuinely believe early retirement is possible for ordinary people in the UK like me and you. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to invest using platforms like Vanguard, how to choose the right index funds, how to work out your retirement number, and to finish, I'll show you some real examples. Chapter 1. Why most people never retire early. Now, before we talk about investing, we need to talk about something else that's really important. Because most people in the UK, unfortunately, will never retire early. Like my dad, who's struggling in his early 60s and is panicking because he feels he's got nowhere near enough money to retire comfortably anytime soon. Sadly, many won't retire comfortably, like my dad. Now that might sound a bit harsh, but let's be honest. Most people are struggling. Energy bills are up. Food costs are up massively. There are 4 of us in our little house and our monthly food bill has literally doubled over the last 3 to 4 years. Housing costs in general are a joke and inflation quietly eats away at your money every single year. And here's another uncomfortable little truth. The old retirement plan is broken. For years, people believed this: work for 40 years, pay into a pension, retire comfortably. But things have changed massively. The state pension, let's be honest, is another joke. And many workplace pensions just aren't enough on their own. This is why, in my humble opinion, investing is no longer optional. It's an absolute must. And I wish someone had sat me down when I was 18 years old and explained this to me, because I actually started investing young. I invested into a stocks and shares ISA at 18, and for 6 months I was doing everything right. I like the fact I was investing £500 per month into a stocks and shares ISA. Now imagine someone told me, all you've got to do is just to keep doing this for 25 years. That's it, nothing fancy, just consistency. Because if I had carried on investing, assuming average returns of around 10% per year, that money would potentially be worth around £663,000. Only around 150,000 of that would have been my own money. The rest, literally hundreds of thousands, would have come from compound interest. So yes, I've started on a bit of a negative, but now I'm going to give you a simple plan so you can potentially retire early. Chapter 2. Learn about index funds and the stock market in general. Now, let me make something very clear. You don't need to become Warren Buffett. You don't need loads of fancy spreadsheets. You don't need to analyse companies all day, every day. And you definitely don't need to stare at stock charts every 5 minutes. Because if there's one investing mistake I made, especially in my earlier years, it was overcomplicating things and listening to the wrong people. Back in 2010, I started investing in individual companies by listening to the lads at work who were all talking about stocks. Everyone suddenly became an investing expert and I got sucked into it. I listened to friends and colleagues who were about as clueless as I was without doing my own research. Long story short, I lost our life savings over a period of about 10 months at the worst possible time. My wife was pregnant at the time. We were moving to our second home. Our stress was through the roof. Arguments, pressure, and I learned a painful lesson. If you don't understand what you're investing into, you're literally gambling. Now, does that mean individual stocks are bad? No, not at all. But in my opinion, for most beginners, there's a much simpler route, and that is index funds. Now let me explain this simply, as simple as possible. Imagine instead of betting on one football team, you own the entire league. That's basically what an index fund does. Instead of putting all your money into one company, like Apple or Tesla, or maybe Rolls-Royce, you buy hundreds, sometimes thousands of companies, all in one investment. So if one company struggles, others can do well. And over long periods of time, historically, the stock market tends to go up and to the right. Not every year, some years are horrible. Some years are amazing, but long term, the trend historically has been upwards. And this is why I personally believe low-cost global index funds are one of the best things normal people can learn about, because they remove emotion, they remove complexity, and they allow you to focus on what actually matters. Consistency, discipline, patience, basically long-term investing. So take it from me, learning about index funds is very, very important. If you have any specific questions, by the way, ask away in the comments. Chapter 3, how to actually start investing. Now let's talk about something practical, because people always ask me, where do I actually start? And for most UK beginners, I genuinely think keeping things simple is best. First, you need something called a stocks and shares ISA. And if you've watched this playlist so far or other videos on this channel, you've heard me talk about ISAs before. Honestly, I think this is one of the best, if not the best investment tools we have in the UK. Why? Because any gains, any growth, any dividends are completely tax-free. Now, there are loads of investment platforms out there available, but one beginners constantly ask me about is Vanguard. And I understand why. It's simple, low cost, beginner friendly, and it's a platform I started with back in 2019 when I first started with index funds. Now, this isn't sponsored, this isn't financial advice. As always, I'm just explaining what many investors use. You basically open a stocks and shares ISA, link your bank account, choose your investment, your index fund. There are loads of platforms to choose, like AJ Bell, Trading 212, etc, etc. But if you want more info on how to compare, go to Martin Lewis's website, Money Saving Expert, and type in how to compare investing platforms. Or again, you can ask any specific questions in the comments. Chapter 4, how to choose an index fund based on your goals and risk tolerance. This is where a lot of people get a bit confused, because once they open Vanguard or any other investment platform, they see loads of funds, loads of names, loads of percentages, and they think, now what? But here's the truth. Choosing your first fund doesn't need to be complicated. Let's look at some of the more popular funds many UK investors use. Again, this is not financial advice. These are simply examples so you understand how different funds work. Option 1, the Vanguard FTSE Global All Cap Index Fund. This is one of the most popular beginner funds. Why? Because it gives you exposure to thousands of companies worldwide, around the world. America, UK, Europe, Japan, emerging markets, basically a bit of everything. Instead of betting on one country, you're betting on the global economy. And personally, I think this is a really good beginner option because it's diversified. You're not relying on just one country or one company. If America struggles, other countries might perform better. Hopefully you get the point. Option 2, Vanguard S&P 500 Index Fund. Now this one tracks the 500 biggest companies in America. And this includes companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Nvidia, basically some of the biggest companies on the planet. And historically, America has performed really well. Option 3, Life Strategy 60 or 80. Now, if you're someone who hates volatility, this might appeal to you. These funds mix stocks and bonds together. And what that means is usually a smoother ride, less volatility, less stress. The downside, usually slightly lower long-term returns. Personally, I started with the Life Strategy 80, but because I'm not really a fan of bonds, I moved to the Life Strategy 100 in 2020. Option 4, FTSE Developed World Fund. This is similar to global investing, but focuses mainly on developed countries. Think US, UK, Japan, Germany, Canada. These are stable economies with less exposure to emerging markets. Again, another simple option. And simplicity usually wins when you do the research and when you read the books. Option 5, NASDAQ Growth Style Funds. These are higher risk, more focused on technology and growth companies. To be honest, these can be volatile, really good, sometimes amazing years, but you also get the terrible years. Emotionally difficult sometimes, and this is where people make mistakes because they see incredible returns, jump in, then panic when markets crash. Personally, I think higher growth funds can have a place, but only if you genuinely understand the risk and only if you can stomach volatility. When it comes to picking the right fund, here's my honest opinion. After 25 years of investing, people spend far too much time trying to optimize, trying to find the best fund, trying to squeeze an extra 1%, when really the biggest thing that matters is how long you stay invested. Honestly, consistency beats cleverness almost every single time. Chapter 5, the 4% rule. How much money do you actually need to retire? Now, this is where things get a bit exciting because most people massively overestimate how much money they need to retire. And I'll be honest, before I started properly learning about investing, I assumed you needed millions. But then I discovered something called the 4% rule. Now, some investing channels don't like it, but I do because it's simple. The idea is this: you withdraw around 4% per year from your investments, and historically, there's a really good chance your money lasts long term, like 30 years or even longer. So let's make this really simple. If you wanted 20,000 per year in income, you'd roughly need £500,000 invested, because 4% of 500,000 equals 20,000. If you wanted 30,000 per year, you'd roughly need 750,000 invested. And if you wanted 40,000 per year, you'd roughly need £1 million invested. Hopefully, again, you get the point, and hopefully you know how much income each year would be enough for you to retire. To work out your number, just decide how much you need each year in retirement and times that figure by 25. And like the previous chapters, any specific questions, ask away in the comments. Chapter 6, how normal UK investors retire early. Now let me show you what this actually looks like in real life, because this is where compound interest becomes like magic. This wasn't taught at school for me and pretty much everyone I know, and it has to change, because once you fully understand compound interest, how powerful it is, in my opinion, you become a long-term investor. Let's imagine you invest £500 per month into a stocks and shares ISA. Nothing crazy, just consistency. And let's assume average returns of 10%, around 10% per year. Now, after 10 years, you could potentially have around £102,000. And if you watched one of my latest videos, you'll know this milestone changes everything, because compounding starts accelerating. But now let's go further. 20 years, potentially around £380,000. Now we're getting serious. And after 25 years, potentially around £663,000. And using the 4% rule, that would give you about £25,000 per year in income. This might not sound like a lot, but it doesn't take into account any rental properties you might have, or things like the state pension. Big figures of about 663k or even higher is what consistency can do. Not brilliance, patience, discipline, and long-term investing. And remember, inside of stocks and shares ISA, it's tax-free. Now imagine investing £750 per month or £1,000 per month, or increasing even more if you get during your high earning years. The thing is, what I want you to take away is this: retiring early isn't just about earning more. It's about investing consistently, avoiding mistakes that I mentioned in my last video, and giving compounding enough time. That's it. Nothing fancy, no magic formula. Hopefully this video has given you a kick up the arse to think about long-term investing and potential early retirement. Chapter 7, the biggest secret to retiring early that no one talks about. Now, before we finish, there's something really important I want to talk about, because after 25 years of investing, making mistakes, getting things wrong, learning the hard way, there's one thing I've realized: retiring early isn't actually about money. I know that might sound strange, but hear me out. Money matters, of course it does. Nobody wants to worry about bills. Nobody wants anxiety around money. Nobody wants to work forever because they have no choice. But for me, retiring early has never been about sitting on a beach drinking cocktails, having a fortune. It's about freedom, freedom of choice, freedom to spend more time with family, freedom to stop trading time for money, freedom to say, you know what, I'm working because I want to work, not because I have to. And that changes everything, because once you start investing and you start seeing progress, something shifts mentally. You stop panicking as much. You stop feeling trapped. You stop living month to month. And slowly but surely, you start realizing this might actually be possible. For me, early retirement and financial freedom is about spending more time doing what I love with the people I love. What about you? Let me know what it means to you in the comments, because once you realize your why, this really will put a firework up your ass. Summary. Now, if you've watched all 5 videos in this little playlist, firstly, thank you. Thank you. Seriously, I genuinely appreciate it, because my goal with this series was simple: to give normal UK investors a realistic roadmap. We started with how to start investing, why your first 10k is huge, why your first 100k is a game changer, 7 common mistakes to avoid, and finishing up with this video on how to retire early in the UK. Sorry, potentially retire, because there are no guarantees with investing. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this entire playlist, it's this: Financial education leads to financial literacy, and financial literacy leads to financial freedom, in my opinion. Not overnight, not instantly, but slowly, over time. And if you like these 5-part investment playlists, see below for another one that goes into index funds in much more detail, step by step, so you can start investing in the stock market with confidence.